There's so many sales coaches out there, trainers that are training this like the same thing, just in their own words. And you would agree with me because I've seen your stuff. Is people ask me, I currently have 16 clients that I coach, some on Service Nation, some privately, but basically they all want that one trick, that one quick thing, that one line to tell a customer. And I tell them, well, you're gonna have to give me the scenario and role play with me so it can come out genuinely of what you say, because I don't have a script. I don't have lines. I don't have all this bullshit that people advertise like, oh, I can overcome that. I'm like, yeah, I can probably overcome that objection. I'll brag about it. I'm a master at overcoming objections. It's one of my favorite things to do. We role play for 2 hours a week with every team in our company. We'll role play with the install department, the technicians, the salespeople, live and on Zoom. But overcoming objections is great, but you have to give me the objection. It has to be real, and it has to be right then and there, so I can overcome it and give you a solution. I don't have a script paragraph of everything that I'm going to say to every answer. People are like, well, what would you say here? I don't know. Depends on the scenario. Give me a background on exactly what's happening and what you're telling me of why you can't buy right now. And I'll tell you what I really would say in that moment.
So I Was in This House podcast is a proud partner of My Method AI. Does this sound like you? Not enough time in the day, under a sink, facing a furnace, losing customers because you can't get to the phone in time, too many estimates to follow up with, and not enough time to get to them? My Method AI has solved this problem with their specialized AI employees who will book the call, follow up on the estimate, chat, and answer the phone 24/7, 365. Some companies have even seen as much as a 100% revenue lift after implementing. Not all AI automation companies are the same. My Method AI builds hyper-customized AI employees that are specifically tailored to your business with your processes, even down to the accent they speak in. So don't settle for an out-of-the-box canned solution. Book a demo today to see if My Method AI is a good fit for you. Visit mymethod.ai/inthishouse. That's mymethod.ai/inthishouse. My Method AI. We handle the busy work so you can do the real work. Welcome to So I Was in This House podcast. I am your host. My name is Everett. And I am here today with a remarkable individual who I had the privilege of meeting not too long ago. His name is Andy Hobaica. You like a Hobaica, huh?
What's up, brother?
You like a Hobaica. Tell me, who are you? Why are you on this podcast?
Well, one, I'm a man. You know, I identify as a man.
One.
I'm a father.
Yeah.
And, all joking aside, was over at Service Nation. We got bumped into each other with Michael Vanitas, one of my boys, one of my best friends. And he spoke highly of you and said, dude, you got to get on this guy's podcast. He's a badass. He has the same energy as you. So I had to come and meet you.
Yeah, dude. And actually, I thought even from our, couple, hours and whatever it was that we met, I thought you were actually pretty remarkable guy. You got all right. So tell people that don't know you everything else. So you have a company in Phoenix, and this has been around since like 1952, right?
Yeah. My grandfather founded it in 1952 out of his garage in Phoenix, Arizona.
Dude, it's so weird for me to think about it because I am from the East Coast, and obviously we have, heating is a huge, part of it. Even coming up, I started in this industry about almost 17 years ago, and we're still. I'm not on the East Coast anymore, but man, they're still putting central air in houses like all the time, right? I mean, and where you're from, it's pretty much a necessity. You can't live. I mean, yes, you can live, but talk about the air conditioning industry in Phoenix as it pertains to like going back to the 1950s. It's so, I love the history of it.
Well, in the 50s, there was no air conditioning, right? So it was just refrigeration when my grandfather founded it. So it was Hobaica's refrigeration, and he ran it, out of his garage with a couple of helpers. And as the story goes, he had a huge family to create a workforce, and all 8 of his kids worked there at one time. In the girls in the office, boys in the field building sheet metal, learning to install, like kind of like I did. So like the same way, and they built this big family to create a workforce, but air conditioning started getting more popular in the like mid to late 60s. And then if you were rich, you had air conditioning, right? So central air. But still, even like when my dad and his brothers were growing up in their younger ages, you ever heard of an Arizona room?
Mm-mm.
So it's a room. Arizona has tons of them, right?
Okay,
So like
yeah.
it's that room with the flat roof in the back because they didn't extend the patio. They obviously didn't pull a permit, but they
I
just
didn't
did
know
a
that's
flat
what it
roof
was
on the
called.
back.
I didn't know that was called. I've heard things like the Florida room.
Yeah. They have the same kind of thing. So the Arizona one came about is because back in the day, you'd have this big Arizona room, and all the windows where the windows would go were just screens. Okay. And then they would hope for a windy night or put up some fans, and they would put wet sheets over the screens, and then you would get a cooling sensation, kind of like an EVAP cooler inside the Arizona room, and that's where you would sleep, so you're not sleeping in sweat inside your house.
Yeah. Well, so it cools down quite a bit at night, but I guess in the summertime at 105 out, it doesn't really make a difference. Yeah.
I'll try 118, but yeah, when it's 118, it's still 109. In the middle of the night, it's hotter than balls, as you would expect.
So you're Phoenix, you're Arizona through and through. I mean, you're generations of Arizona. Have you ever ventured out? Have you ever gone and moved and lived in other places for long periods of time?
No, I've never lived anywhere else, but I've traveled, right? I've been to a lot of different states, a few different places in the world. I think the furthest I ever went was like the Bahamas on a cruise or whatever. But no, I've never lived anywhere else. I'm 38 years old. I was born in Phoenix, and I never left. It was kind of, a lot of people ask me why. Well, I was kind of trapped, right? So like, I had a choice when I was 18. My dad said, all right, hey, you turn 18 in 3 months. You got 3 choices. And you already know this. You were ready for this, but you're not taking advantage of it because I don't see you making any plans. He goes, you can start paying me rent. You can move out and do your own thing. You can go to college. I'll pay for it. You have to get an A average. And he knew I wasn't capable of that. Or you can go into the military. What do you want to do? Well, I went down to the mall and took my ASVAB and was like this close from joining the Army, like boot camp in 3 weeks. And I didn't sign on the dotted line. The recruiter said you can come back within the next 7 days. Be good to go. Was trying to follow up with me. My dad told me, he's like, hey, I had a dream last night, and I don't feel like it's the right time for you to go into the military. I don't know what happened, but you can go if you want. If that's what you want to do, I'll support you. But I just don't think it's the right time. So how about this? Right when you turn 18, you don't have to be, bitch boy at work anymore. I'll give you your own van, take home van, and you'll be your own man. How about you try that for 6 months? If you don't like it, you can go join the military. I'm like, that's fair. Well, in the first 6 months, I probably made more money than I ever had in my entire life. And I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And it was nothing back then. It was like, I think I made like 17 an hour plus spiffs, which is commissionable items. And I got into homes and like first call, second call, third call, first week, I'm talking to people. People are just saying yes to me. I'm like, man, this is great. This is easy. They always said sales is hard. Well, then when you get into $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 sales, much harder. But I just had that feeling. I love talking to people, and they listen to me because they like my likability and they know I'm being real. And then that's from way back then and just stretching all across all the way to 38 years old.
20 years. A lot happens in 20 years. Talk about that. You and I have similar views. We've been in the industry about the same amount of time. Tell me what your view of that evolution is. What does that look like to you?
Well, when I think of 20 years, right? So I've been in the trades for about 30. I started when I was about, 8 to 10 years old in the field and helping out with, installers, technicians. So I've been doing it for literally 31 years, like a long time. But in 20 years, what I hear when people say, how was it 20 years ago? My instant thought goes to price. Dude, the average system sale when I was 18 to 20 years old, average system sale was like $5,800 for a full split system. Crazy. Now, there wasn't inverters. I think 2-stage came out when I was in my early 20s, but basically a single stage basic system, you pick a brand and it's, $5-6 grand. It's like, holy crap. Now a single stage was like 17. It's just crazy.
Well, yeah, and then market dynamics play a role in that, and brand and service level and all that kind of stuff goes into it. Interestingly enough, I saw the first, I had taken it out. This was like, I want to say over 10 years ago, but there was a Lennox 2 stage that came out, I want to say in the late 80s. No joke. And I even had like double back in maybe early 90s. And I had to look back and look at try to find like the spec sheet. And I'm like, sure enough, Lennox came out with a multi-stage unit. It was in the 90s. Of course, how many of those? None, zero. Like how many people actually put those in, right? It's very common now. Yeah, almost nobody. It's very common now to put in.
Was that the G series, like the G70?
I couldn't tell you, but I do know that I think it was married. It was married to a Lennox Pulse at the time, which was like the first 90% furnace. So, and for those that are listening that are outside the HVAC industry, because there's a lot of home services, so like 90% furnaces are like more efficient furnaces that are PVC vented, and they're just, it was at the time it was like, wow, oh my gosh, now it's commonplace in new construction for 90% furnaces going. But in Phoenix there are no you guys don't have any gas furnaces for the most part. It's all electric systems, right? Heat pumps. You don't have a whole lot of gas, right?
No, it's 60% gas still, brother.
See, this is wild. And so this is like the thing I love about.
I have 90% furnaces in my attic right now in this house, right? It's about a 2-year-old home. It's a custom build, but they picked 90% furnaces for the efficiency. I've never turned on my heat because it's fucking encapsulated.
So, and this is so crazy because when I get it, like Dallas gets quite a bit colder than Phoenix will get in for the most part. Like we have a winter here. It's short, but we have a winter here. And so when I started, I came here, I was like, yeah, I'm going to see all heat pumps and electric systems. And yeah, no, sure enough, it's about probably closer to 75% natural gas.
Now, last year, the year before, and the year before, when that tax credit was available, I converted probably 75% of the gas systems I came up on. Why? Because I was different. I was doing something no one was doing, and I was still taking care of the rebate. They're like, hey, I know there's this $2,000 tax credit if I get a heat pump, but I don't have a heat pump, so it looks like I'm just gonna have to go back with gas. I'm like, let me ask you a question. What do you keep your heat at? And if it's under 72, a heat pump will work great, especially an inverter heat pump. So I would talk to them going that way. I have some systems that I can convert right from the air handler from 115 volt to 230, so they go both ways. Or I run a freaking new electrical line to the attic. We have our own electricians, and it's still worth it getting the $2,000 tax credit.
No doubt about it. There's a lot of data though, Andy, and you can look this up, and it doesn't matter what you keep your temperature on. It doesn't matter what the ambient temperature is outside these days. All the data, all the studies have shown that you can live in like legitimately 0-degree weather and operate a heat pump. As long as you have proper insulation in your house, that the heat pump will operate fine. I've seen like national HVAC trainers do these studies. It's remarkable.
Where I go with that, Everett, is and again, I'm not saying you don't know because you do, but man, air conditioning is in my freaking blood, in my veins, right? So all I think about is a really cold climate. With a lot of these inverters, unfortunately, a lot of the bigger brands, their inverters don't work the best in heating. So if they have a heat pump without heat strips and it's snowing outside, that thing's going to be in defrost for 45 minutes every hour.
Oh, no. I would never install a heat pump without the backup auxiliary heat.
Correct.
And then, whatever you want that set point out, whatever it is, but the data shows, you can essentially put out good solid heat down to about 15 degrees outside. After that, it's going to be in defrost. It's crazy, but why not set the aux heat? How many actual degree days do you have that go under, in these markets? You're not putting them in Maine for the most part, but I'm just saying, how many set days are you really going to have underneath, freezing underneath 20? So if you set your set point at 20,
maybe 5.
Yeah, you don't. There's not many. It's not North Dakota, right? It's
correct.
Yeah. So
saying, like, if you look at efficiency wise, if you got a heat pump that's an inverter, variable speed, badass, 23 SEER2, and it's a great system. As soon as you put the heat strips in and the heat, all the efficiency goes out the fucking window. So when I'm talking to a customer, I'm like, well, maybe it's better that you stay with gas because you keep your house at 78 in the middle of the friggin' winter because you're 93 and you're in Sun City and your bones hurt. So I can't give a heat pump to that person because I'm not going to do heat strips, because if I do a heat pump with heat strips, they're going to pay so much in electricity in that wintertime versus gas because they keep it really hot.
You think that those heat strips are going to kick on?
I know for a fact, yeah.
Will
if they keep it that hot.
Oh, you're saying if they...
I live in Peoria. about 30 minutes that way. Oh, we have Sun City, and you can't live there if you're under 75 years old. So they're all in their like late 80s and 90s. Dude, they run heating when it's 80 degrees outside.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, this is nonsense.
It's old people, right? So like a heat pump won't work in that.
That's nonsense. That's crazy. So while we're on the topic,
that's our future, baby.
While we're on the topic, I'll never forget this. So I was in this house, which I can't wait to hear some of your stories. So I was in this house and I met this man who they had just moved into this retirement community, and he was but a young retirement age, right? He was probably like 60, and he hands me, maybe early 60s, he hands me a bill for his electric bill. He just moved in. They're like, we're so excited, fixed expenses. We've got this incredible community we live in. It's got all the amenities. All the old people are driving around in golf carts. We love it here. Here's my electric bill. And it was $1,069 for the month of January.
Cooper & Hunter's new peak unit runs efficiently up to 19 SEER 2. With BTU capacity that ranges between 18 to 55,000 for indoor and outdoor units. Compared to a traditional gas furnace, Peak's revolutionary design is ready to step in without a hassle, thanks to its adaptive multi-voltage. True high-performance hyper units provide a 100% heating output at -13 degrees. Looking inside the unit, the new M-Coil is highly efficient and provides a better airflow that reflects in a higher static pressure. Our Smart Kit is included, giving you access to control your device from the comfort of your phone. Peak stands for powerful, efficient, auto voltage detection, and quiet. To learn more, visit our website or talk to your local distributor. Cooper & Hunter, addicted to comfort.
And he's like, help me. What in the world is going on? So this one community, when they built it, they didn't put any natural gas in. The entire thing was just electric. So the way that they heated these houses was electric resistance heat, but they did it on the baseboard. So you could control it per room. The issue is that these were put up, a lot of them in the 80s. The insulation had all but wisped away. So, but they were all built with air handlers. So guess what I started doing in this entire community across the board? Man, one neighbor told another neighbor, told another neighbor, told another neighbor. Next thing you know, that $1,069 electric bill went literally down by over. So, dude, one third of the cost. It cost 1/3 of the cost to operate the heat pump. 1/3.
Yeah, it's badass.
So actually, and again, somebody has to check on the data. But if you go to the Department of Energy and it gives you a conversion ratio of kilowatts converted into dollars and everything, if you compare an air source heat pump to electric resistance heat, the amount it's 37% of the energy. So if you spend $100 on electric resistance heat, it's $37 of air source heat pump per BTU of energy.
Got it.
Yeah. Man.
Nice. I'll have to check it out.
What I'm saying is, is that this gives for anybody that's listening, like, so if you're talking to somebody and you're trying to justify or give them an ROI, you can get the most up-to-date stats. The last I checked was 37%. So if you just had somebody, they go, I spent $1,000 on heat with my electric resistance heat. If they go to a heat pump, it's $370 instead of $1,000.
Yeah, that's nice, man. Just give them a range, right? You don't want to be wrong.
No. I'm saying you can just use empirical data that's out there and say this is the range, but you don't have to guess at this stuff. And going into that, like this is a good segue into like a next little topic, which is like, you know, you're obviously in HVAC, you're in HVAC sales, you do service, but you're obviously out there giving quotes to people that want new stuff. This is a hot topic because there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of really shitty information, that are sharing really shitty information, that are training really shitty information, and then they sit in front of a classroom and they teach their guys shitty information, right? So it's like a continuous thing. And what do you do to combat that? What do you do to make sure that your guys and you are always sharing the correct? Because I know this about you. You're not going to send exactly what you just said right there. You were skeptical about what the statistic that I just said, because but I need to be precise. I will not give an answer unless that. What do you do?
Well, we do a couple different things. One thing is that we give them personal experience as well as a range. So like less on heating, more on air conditioning. Hey, Everett, going from this 20-year-old single stage system, this new inverter variable speed system, you're going to save 15 to 50%, maybe more. But what we see is a 15 to 50, because if I tell you 50 and you say 42, you're going to be mad at me, aren't you? So I just have to give you that range. But personal experience, I went from 2 single stage systems at my house. I keep my house at about 75 in the daytime, really cold, and 72 at night. My bill is like $700-800. I went from single stage and I went to variable stage at my house, and I cut my electricity bill by 46%. Now, I can't guarantee you 46, but I literally have 46. I'll show you the 2 bills. I bring them with me. I put them in my bag, and here's my 2 bills with the same address. I don't care if they know where I live. Here it is. And then as well, I have on my phone, I actually have 3 videos saved from customers telling on video what they saved from their old single stage to variable stage.
Okay. Now, what kind of ductwork is prevalent? Is it mostly flex in Arizona?
Yeah. So new up-to-date code would be R8.
And now, do they run trunk lines and then or is it plenums and then a bunch of flex?
Yeah. So plenums, bunch of flex, mix boxes. If you have a package unit on the roof, risers.
Talk about package units, because this isn't very common at a residential application anywhere that I've worked. I've seen other markets that have quite a prevalent.
Arizona, some California. You got New Mexico, some in Florida. Obviously, you look at commercial, there's tons of package units, right? But for residential, They're huge in Arizona, because unless you're in Flagstaff, it doesn't snow. So what the heck? It's much more efficient on the roof, Everett, because you think about it. You got a package unit on the roof. What's surrounding the package unit on the roof?
Air, sunlight.
Yeah, but is there anything around it blocking airflow?
Yeah, no.
What's on the ground, Everett? A wall there, a wall here, a bush here, all the bullshit, the freaking sprinklers, the dog peeing, like
coyotes.
There's so much stuff that happens on the ground, where on the roof there's nothing. So the maximum amount of airflow for that condenser fan motor pulling air across that coil and compressor, there's nothing blocking it. So I'll tell people the most efficient way is to always go on the roof if you can, mind looking at it. But I was so happy, like I think it was like 5 years ago when Bosch came out with their inverter package unit, because now I can offer variable speed on the roof.
Do you ever add a package unit onto a roof where there wasn't one? No, right? It'd be almost like ridiculous to try to add one and run all the ductwork off that, right? Or have you done it before?
I've done it actually a lot. So we're only on conversions, right? So like let's say you had a normal 4-on-12 pitch, right? But you have a vertical system. So you have a vertical system in a closet, and the returns underneath the platform, just underneath, and it's louder than hell. And I asked the customer, tell me if this story is true. When you watch TV and this thing turns on, what do you do?
Oh, they're in the hallway.
Like crazy.
That thing comes on. The return air's it's undersized anyway, so it's
hey, Everett, what would it be worth to you? To never hear that noise again? I never thought about that. Holy shit! Yeah, like you can get rid of that? Yeah, I can get rid of it 2 different ways. One, I can put this entire thing in the attic and run your system up there horizontally, or I can actually go on the roof. It would be even quieter. Really? Yep.
And so because there's already ductwork, you kind of just you can add. So now you're literally cutting in like you're framing out an entire unit on that. There's a lot of carpentry that's involved there. There's a lot. I mean, obviously, how is that possible? You're putting it on the roof. You're cutting open the roof to make a frame for.
You cut open the roof, and it's called a roof jack, right? So the roof jack slides underneath the shingles. Underneath, all attached. You tar the outside, you pookie the inside, you get all good to go, and then you have a cap. Okay, if you need a mix box, you're going to drop a mix box that's made for that roof jack, or you're just going to drop a cap and put a flex riser down to wherever you want to go.
And do you usually replace all the ductwork at that time, or do you just try to?
If the customer wants to, if they don't, then I can just run a supply flex or 2 down to different parts of the trunk line to get even airflow, and then maybe run an existing return flex to where the existing one was, or abandon it and put a return in the bedroom and put a return in the family room. You're good to go.
Interesting.
Basically, you have your package unit, right? And then underneath the roof jack, you have your supply, but then you have like a return plenum. It's just a big drop box, right?
No,
like 30 by.
I totally understand the concept because I've converted closets back into usable closets by moving the air handler into the attic.
Yep.
You know, then you got a, new line set, electric's got to go up there. So it's a bigger drainage, so now you got to run drainage out. It's a bigger job, but it's definitely worth getting the closet back if they can swing for it, right?
Correct. Yeah. So like a lot of people back in the day, it's pretty funny. I'll go to a different topic maybe you've never thought about. You guys ever do like manufactured homes?
Sure.
You guys usually have them horizontal with a downflow, or do you guys ever put a package unit outside?
I've seen it both ways.
A lot of people have a vertical and they're getting 4 quotes, and I'm going to come in and what do I want to be? I want to be different. So I'm going to come in and say, hey, I have a couple different options. Obviously, we stayed with downflow. There's one unit. I can't really offer you anything. It's going to come with a 1-year warranty, and then I can pair it with a system outside that's going to come with a 5 to 10-year warranty, depending on the brand, because I might not be able to get you a full warranty because it doesn't, it doesn't go together. It's not the same thing. Or how about I give you your closet back? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, where this downflow air handler is, where the electrical furnace is, how about I rip everything out? I have someone come in here and they build shelving for you so you get a new closet. And they're like, that sounds great. I need more room. Who doesn't want more room, especially women, right? So where are you going to put the unit? Well, I'm going to put the unit outside on the ground, package unit, induct it in so I can get the supplies and returns. And dude, you're basically selling them a closet and getting rid of all the noise, all the inefficiencies. And they're like, no one else did this. I know. Most people just want to sell you something and get out of there. I care about your comfort. And in 15 years, I want you to buy another one from me. So let's go this route.
This is a really important. So Andy, a lot of people that actually like listen to this podcast are people who are in the field today, and not necessarily like you're an owner, a business operator, but also, so I do get people that are operators, but for the people that listen that are actually technicians that are on the road, or they're, HVAC sales reps and they're on the road, listen to what Andy is saying. He is not going in and looking for the easiest solution, which is what 90% of people do. Then they wonder why they're unsuccessful. They go into a house, they offer what everybody else does, and they go, oh, the guy went with the cheaper quote or whatever. Well, everybody was a carbon copy of everybody else. But if you offered something, and I'm not saying, I want to be clear, Andy, with everybody, I'm not saying that offer something different because it's just to offer something different. No, you offer something different as an idea that separates you and lets you stand out. Even if they don't go with that option, if they didn't like it, at least you put the thought and the effort into an alternative for them. And this is where people get it wrong. They get it wrong because they think that you're offering options that are not viable options. If it's not a viable option, don't offer the option. Offer viable options. And so what does that say to them? And you already know the answer. What that says to them is you're working for them. You're giving them information that they didn't have. And you're like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. You know what, Andy, we're not going to go with that option, but we like that you actually put the extra thought into it. It shows that you cared about our house. You cared about what we, and sometimes people mistake that because they think that everybody just wants to get that cheaper price. And you do have about a third of people that will, it's like price, unless you train them and teach them otherwise. But even those people, if you show them value, if you show that you care about them, if you work hard for them, you're not trying to give them a quote and get out and give them a quote and get out, because that's what people do. Give them a quote and get out, right? And then you wonder, oh, I don't know why I didn't win that bid. Well, because you didn't work for it. Well, why is Andy so good at this? Andy, why are you so good at this? I don't understand. Why do you have so many customers? Why does everybody say yes to you?
I love what you just said. I'll tell customers, hey, Everett, really nice to meet you, man. Am I parked in a good location? Get it started. I just want to make sure we have 2 to 3 hours. And they all drop their freaking mouth. 2 to 3 hours? You're my 4th quote. They all took 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, if I took 20 minutes, I'd be just giving you a quote and shooting from the hips. It's not how we work. If you go into Google, you go into BBB, go into ROC, do you see many complaints, or do you see a lot of good stuff? A lot of good stuff. Well, the reason isn't because I spend 2 to 3 hours to make sure that the investment you're going to make for you and your family is the right thing. And maybe I'm not the right person, but in 3 hours, you're going to know that answer. Is that fair? Oh, yeah, it does. Well, I only have 30 minutes. That's fine. Let's reschedule this because I'm robbing you of the value here.
Now, there's a tactful way to do this with people who may have a little resistance to that, and they may go, whoa, hold on, dude. I don't need some crazy sales pitch right now. Okay, Andy, I didn't sign up for that.
This is my favorite part. So then I'll just respond to that and say, all right, that's fine. So how long? 20 minutes, right? That's a good amount of time. If they really did my job in 20 minutes, like I need to hire that person. Can I get their phone number? Because I'll be honest, how long did it take them to do a heat load? What's that? Exactly. This is why 20 minutes. It takes more than 20 minutes just to do my load. Do you know what a heat load is?
Yeah.
No. Well, let me show you something. Again, I'm not just speaking out like some sales guy. Let's ask ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT. Hey, I'm gonna give a customer a quote on replacing their air conditioning system. I've never been to this house. How smart is it to give someone a quote without doing the heat load? Dude, it lists out all this shit, and they're like, "Oh crap!" I'm like, "Exactly." So I'm not saying they're not good people who were over here before, but dude, I got to do a heat load. Otherwise, it's not even worth getting a quote for you.
I this is like where I live, right? So,
Yeah.
I think the sentiment is that like doing everything really quickly and getting there really fast is the best thing in their best interest, right? Oh yeah, it's so convenient. I got there really fast. And so the education process of letting somebody know, and I love the way that you just put that. I mean, it's fantastic. I would say that like there's so many different approaches to get to that point. The ChatGPT is great. It's quick. It makes it understandable. One of the things that you probably do as well as I do, and I train guys, and this is tough for people who are a little bit newer in the field, is to go, hey, I've been a part of like thousands of projects, and I could tell you there's no way that I can possibly take the measurements necessary, put all the data together, and get you an accurate price on this, unless I'm just looking at serial tags and saying, you're exactly what's there is exactly what's going there, and that's that. And I've seen that come out and have terrible results afterwards. We have no idea what is here and what needs to get done. There's 100 pieces this could go in. And so if it's okay with you, it doesn't cost you anything. You're not paying me to do this, but ethically, morally, I have to take measurements. I have to take a look at everything. I got to look at the ductwork. I have no idea what kind of static pressure. I have no idea what's happening here. If I don't at least take a look at that, I'm doing you a disservice, right? So for free, if you're okay with it, right? It doesn't cost you anything. Would you be okay if I just, did my job, did the measurements, everything else, and just setting that precedent of like, you're not paying me to do this. I just ethically, morally have to do this. Otherwise, I could easily give you a number and get out of here, right? I don't know if my guys would be doing the right thing. And let me tell you something. It segues into how many issues happen post installation. What's the data support? There's a lot of data that you can look up that goes after an installation is done. What's the percentage of people that have service issues following the installation, which of course everybody has tweaks and stuff like that. But how many are serious service issues? Andy, what do you think that number is? And I heard this statistic somewhere. What percentage do you think after installation, it was like, uh-oh?
Well, I'm going to give you two answers. One, and I'm not being cocky, for Hobaica, maybe 5%, because every now and then there is issues. Not all the sales guys at Hobaica are as diligent as me, even though we try, right?
And we're not talking about, to be clear,
Andy,
we're not talking about post-installation issues where, oh my gosh, we have to reinstall it. We're talking about, I'm not talking about tweaks. Tweaks are one thing, right? Like tweaks are done probably after more than half of the installations. You go back, you tell them about the thermostat, you got a quality assurance guy that goes back. I hope most people do.
Two.
Yeah, I'm talking, you have two quality. That's amazing.
One within 30 days and then one in the second year.
See, that is what I'm talking about. That is what should be done.
Hell yeah.
That's incredible. 30 days, right? And so in a lot of the companies I've worked with, we just do a post installation, so it's immediately following. However, I'm guessing you have an installation checklist day of the installation for you guys.
Oh yeah. So there's three, right? So the installer cannot leave without uploading a freaking checklist with, splits, static pressure, All the rooms are comfortable. He did a manual, air balancing with the dampers. Like, he has to list everything. And then when he does the air balancing and actual static pressure and split, he has to take a video and pictures of that, upload them to Service Titan so we actually know that everything was done. That way in 30 days, when we're getting different readings, we're like, oh, something's going on.
Yeah. This is, guys, listen to what he's saying right here. That is the service level. And then you can command and say, I'm not a bottom dweller. You pay a fair price. Look, it might even be, I don't know if you guys are a premium or not, but
we're definitely premium, brother.
That's fair. Okay, so but either way, right? Let me ask you, for a one-time purchase, you're only going to do once every 15 years or so, right? Isn't it right? It's worth it, right? It's worth it to have that service level. And look, not everybody wants to afford it, not everyone wants to pay for it or whatever. So it's not like not every human being is going to be your client. But if you're going to do it the right way and they're getting quotes and you can spend a couple extra bucks, it probably makes a lot more sense. But go back for a second here. We were talking about, making sure we did all the measurements, making sure we did all the things prior, right? And reducing the resistance of that customer, right? Reducing the resistance, making sure that you get swimming along.
Everett, real quick, it's the same thing. I have to tie into it real quick because you let a light bulb went off. When someone calls into the office and says, I need a phone quote, great, send them over to me. I love talking to those people. So you're the homeowner that thinks you know what you want, and you tell me, okay, I live here. Here's my address. I want a 4-ton package heat pump. Let's go. Okay, cool, great. What's the pitch of your roof? They never know that answer. What's the static pressure of your current ductwork? They have no idea. What's the size of your return grill and return flex? They have no idea. What was the heat load on your house? How many BTUs did it tell you per your square footage of your house on all the windows and everything? They have no idea. I'm like, okay, well, then the range is going to be 12 to 35 because I can't give you a quote if you don't give me 15 minutes, come over to the house and at least look at a couple things. Because I don't want that customer.
Yeah,
I'll never be the fucking cheap guy.
The 15 minutes actually is 2 to 3 hours. Remember, Andy.
No, we know, but I need to get in the door and at least talk to them about it.
Sure, I totally agree with this. And
2 to 3 hours when you're on the phone, you just want to get over there for 15 minutes. Explain to them why you need to turn this visit or another visit in the next couple of days into 2 to 3 hour visit. But I want to be in person.
What I think people fail to actually see right here is two very, and this is not egotistical, two very high powered sales individuals in this industry, right? Andy's, between us, I have no idea, but it's a lot, right? Yeah, I'm saying with a lot of helping. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I have all 5-star reviews. Everybody that's I dealt with, they've loved dealing with me. Of course, you can't make every single human being happy. You're talking about tens of thousands of people, but at the end of the day, what we're not talking about some slick, salesy BS. We're talking about actually getting the gaining trust by making sure the technicals are in order, right? So that your install team is in order, sharing the value of that. And then comes the, hey, I'm going to help this customer be a decision enabler and get them over the finish line. That's actually so the gaining trust part, Andy, like, let's talk about that. The gaining trust part. Again, I want to make it clear. We have not talked about sales tactics. We haven't talked about overcoming objections. We haven't talked about price impressioning. We haven't talked about any of that stuff. Nothing. All we've talked about is getting the technicals right, gaining trust with the customer. That's it. And presenting options in a way that makes it easy and also shares with your customer that you care about their one house, their one project, their one thing that they do. But talk to me about that. How gaining trust.
Yeah. So you might have heard it on different podcasts. I've said it 1,000 times. What I do is I pull up around the corner before I go to the call and I look at myself in the mirror, and a lot of people think it's corny, but I look at myself and I'm like, you're going to help this person and you're going to be 100% Andy and you're going to give them 100% no matter what, or you might as well just call them and tell them you can't make it. So that's why I put my 100% pin on every morning. We can talk about that, but basically just tell myself to get in a good mode. I don't care what you went through before this call, drama at home, maybe you got in a fight with your wife, your kids, drop all that shit because your customer doesn't deserve that, right? So I get in the right mode. I just got to listen to a podcast or an audiobook and I pull up happy with a smile on my face. And I'm walking up to the customer's house with the mindset of, what are there 5 things I can do for the customer right now that have nothing to do with what I'm about to tell them? So what can I do to help this customer? So that's at the top of my mind. And that's why I look out for little things, how I can make their life better or easier and make it stand out and let them know. So they're just like, wow, this is great. I've had customers after an hour and a half tell me, Andy, aren't we going to talk about air conditioning? I'm like, oh, I totally forgot why I was here. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Love it.
Garage, oiling their garage door springs because I heard it. It was noisy when we came in and I offered, or I opened the screen door to get in the backyard and it's freaking barely opening. I'm like, I'm going to be right back. I come back with some WD-40. I spray it. I'm like, look at that. And they're like, what'd you do that for? It's because what I would have done if I was at my own house, they'd annoy the hell out of me. And I know that you don't like it, but look at it sliding nice and easy now. They're like, what? Like, who does that? I do.
See, there's a slippery slope here that, like, if most people tried to do that, it would come off like they were doing that in an effort to get the business. But I know this.
Genuine, baby. Gotta be genuine.
You're out there spreading the love, because at the end of the day, my take on this, Andy, I don't know if you agree with this. I know you probably do. For me, being awesome, providing the expectation that there can definitely be that your efforts can go unreciprocated is perfectly fine with me. I am perfectly fine with there being, if at the end of it, I'd made a, I made an acquaintance. I learned a little bit about somebody, which is why I started this podcast to begin with. I'm fine with that. And the byproduct of doing all that, the byproduct of being awesome, giving service, taking measurements, going the extra step, working really hard to understand this person's needs, house desires, all this kind of stuff, their motivations and so forth. The byproduct of that is that you get the business. Not, I'm going to go get mine, yo, right? Like, I hear a lot of technicians out there. I hear a lot of technicians, a lot of sales reps, a lot of selling techs. I hear a lot of this where it's like, yo, man, I'm going to go out there and get this. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to crush this, bro. I'm going to go out there. You see, I'm going to go sell this guy a variable, blah, 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 all this kind of gunslinging. But, bro, at the end of the day, like, that's not even your job. Like, your job is, to secure business for your company so everybody can actually, like, have a house,
feed their families. Yeah.
Feed their families. But at the end of the day, your job is to do awesome things. And so that knowing that it could go unreciprocated, if you can let go, right, that there's no end result at the end of it, right? You're working towards it. I'm not saying you're not working towards it, but if you can let go of that expectation, just absolutely help them. It's the greatest close, so to speak, in quotes, that you'll ever have.
And hey, Everett, I got to tell two stories here that's going to go with exactly what we're talking about. The first one is I've done this countless times where I go over, do everything, spend 3 hours with them, and then they're like, Andy, I'll be honest, man, my credit's at 530, so I can't pull credit, and I have $8,000 to my name. I don't have any other money. I can't get it, so I can't afford you. I'm sorry, and I feel emotional right now because I want to afford you. You're an awesome person. I just can't. I'm sorry. And dude, I'm talking about I sat there and overcame all the objections still, and just it wasn't there. It just wasn't going to happen. So actually, I hooked her up with a friend of mine that has an air conditioning license that does stuff on the side, like through his old business, because he doesn't work for an air conditioning contractor. He does commercial work, like a lot of duct work and stuff. And then he's able to do, side work, but legally, and he's insured. But obviously, is he going to be in business in 5 years? I don't know. So I hooked her up with him, and he did a split system for like $7,300, and it was great. He felt bad for, but here it is. Here's the thing. Listen, that customer was blown away with my presentation. What did they do, Everett? I bet you can't guess. I bet you can. She referred me 17 fucking times, and that 17 turned into 15 sales, surpassing it was like $170,000. I added it up, but literally, all those people were like, "Hey, Susie," is not the customer's name. I'll keep it secret, but Susie referred me, and she said she couldn't afford you, and I know she's always really tight on money, but she was blown away with your presentation, so she says I have to meet with you.
It's like, it's not even magic. It's just like, it's not even talk.
And then real quick, the second story, you're gonna like this one. So I was in this house, and I was at a customer's house, and I was doing the helo, doing all that stuff, And then I've actually started looking at the equipment before I do the heat load because of this exact topic. So about a year ago, it happened. I went out to the system. It was fucking 6 years old. I'm like, what am I doing here? So I went inside, and the customer's like, so, you have everything, you're good? I'm like, before I do my heat load, the thing's 6 years old. We didn't diagnose it. He was just giving quotes because someone else diagnosed it. And I'm like, he goes, yeah, I know, but the compressor's bad and it's out of warranty. I just moved in here, so I don't have the warranty on it anymore because it only came with a 5 when it transferred. I'm like, okay. And the compressor's bad. And he goes, yeah. I'm like, who diagnosed it? I will not say the name because I don't talk bad about anybody. But he said someone, and I know they have a lot of shady stories out there that I've seen firsthand, right? So I was like, okay, you don't mind if I go get some tools real quick? And again, I normally don't do this, but I was a technician for 14 years. I'm going to go get a couple things just to make sure it's bad, because if it is, you should definitely replace this thing. But let's confirm. Bro, it was a fucking blown fuse.
Wow.
What did I do? I opened up the system. I gave him a full service. The coil was dirty. I told him, here it is, man. We need to clean this coil. The contactor is a little charred. We should replace that. It is 6 years old. I don't know why the contactor is burning already. Maybe the compressor's having some trouble. Let's put a soft start on here and get on a maintenance program. And what happened? 2 years later, his system died, and he called me and me only. It kind of is, I'm not even giving quotes, Andy. Give me the best thing you have.
I love it. Dude, that actually happened to me. So I was in this house. This was just a month or two ago. And I was there with another technician. I have an agreement with this company, and I'm hired by them to
doing ride-alongs.
Yeah, I'm independent, but I was there, and I went with the technician, and there was a very large company. I won't say who they are, and they're owned by a very large company. Correct. And so, but just think about this. This is, a $75 million company that is inside of a, I don't know, $2 billion company, right? And something like that. It's just a lot of money. But the point was that, like, this technician, now I don't know if it was a bad diagnosis or not, but like, he was like, hey, we've got like major issues here, leaks everywhere, the evap's coil's leaking all over the place, like, and then we went in there like, okay, second opinions, they're free, we don't charge, let's go take a look at everything. We took a look at everything, and we came out, we're like, look, obviously the system's a little bit older, but and this company installed it. Like, the one that installed it was the one that went out there to diagnose it. And we couldn't find like the leak anywhere. We couldn't find anything. And it was kind of like, we would have loved to have installed the unit and found, like, confirmed that the other company had found, that it was wrong. And this is why this industry has such a bad rap, is because it's like, but I get, the problem is that you got to kind of figure out the line between a bad diagnosis, a misdiagnosis, and an actual, like, doing something unethical to try to gain business. And
this is where companies go wrong, Everett. Sorry to interrupt, but this is exactly where you are right now. This is where they go wrong, the massive companies, because the technicians, the selling techs, don't make an hourly wage. They make 20% of the ticket. So if they have 2 calls that day, that guy's going to get really, really bad and unethical really quick, because he has a family to freaking feed. So I blame that on the owners, because they're setting that up for freaking failure.
I empirically agree with you. I think the main issue here is leadership in those organizations.
1000%, yes.
And if you have a leader who is going, hey man, you had an aged opportunity there and you didn't come away with anything on that aged opportunity. Well, okay, let's walk this down. If you misdiagnosed it, totally understand. It's very difficult to misdiagnose like a leaking, you know what I mean? Like a system. No, it is. It's difficult to misdiagnose.
Do you have a video of the leak? So do you have a video of you picking up the leak with your leak detector? No, you're going back.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying, but management doesn't. I mean, a lot of times they're actually hiring management that has actually no industry experience. Which I'm not saying you can't train somebody, the technical intricacies, but if they have no desire to even So I think that there's a slippery slope that as it pertains to who's operating the business, who's managing the business, how are they incentivized, and are you doing things that are unethical because you need to essentially superficially inflate, your numbers because you don't have enough opportunities? Or I think there's enough ethical business out there that everybody can eat, everybody can be fine. But this is prevalent in our industry, right? And we've become sort of a disposable society. And there's two ways that you can actually present somebody that has like an operating system. There's no issues. You don't have to find problems.
Nope.
You don't have to find broken systems in today's day and age where people literally just want new shit all the time, right?
Correct.
They do. There's
a lot of people I've read like replacing systems every 10 years. For what reason? Well, Andy, the last system you guys sold me, a different guy before you, sold me a system, gave me a 10-year part warranty, 10-year labor warranty, 10-year maintenance agreement. And to be honest, I think I paid $75 for one diagnostic in the middle of the night on a Sunday. Well, other than that, I didn't pay you guys anything. I like planning out my life that way. And to be honest, I'm retired. I'm not poor, but I know how much money I need to pull out of my investments every year and stay on that nice and even flow. So I know I'm not going to have to spend $5,000 randomly. Can I buy another system so I can get another 10 years of that easy going, just one less thing to worry about? So I have maybe 15% of the people that would do that. Some people say, I've never heard that. Well, you've never opened the door for that, brother.
Yeah. Fixed expense. This is a big one. Fixed expense for certain people, like hassle-free fixed expense. Why do people trade in their cars when there's only 80,000, 90,000 miles on it? Most cars these days easily can get 150 to 200,000 miles. Easy. Yeah, almost every car with minimum proper maintenance can get somewhere around 200,000 miles before it actually would show any sign. Some trucks and all that kind of stuff, more, maybe even if you actually drove a car until it was dead. How many miles do you think? Dead. I'm talking dead, not 300,000 miles, literally 200.
What kind of car?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I'm a car guy, bro.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't know, like a V8 Triton Ford truck. How many miles is that thing getting?
212.
Yeah,
much longer, but like a Toyota. But like if you look at a Toyota Corolla, people still trade it in. That car will go 400,000 miles.
It's insane. Yeah.
But that person has had that. This is intel's with our industry. That person has had that experience of on the side of the road. Fuck my life. My water pump just went out. Like I can't fix this. I have to get a tow truck. They've had that. The same as your air conditioning customers have had that experience of a breakdown on a Saturday afternoon and the parts on back order and they can't do anything. Like what the hell? They just want to no worry another 10 years.
Yeah. There is a level of, I don't want to worry about an I want to make a phone call, have somebody come out here. I don't want to have a $3,000 repair. You know what I mean? Like I want it, taken care of. So to go back on what we were trying to, the sentiment of what we were trying to say was that like, there are plenty of people in this world, and I have met so many of them who I'll give you a great example, Andy, right? Best customer that like would potentially replace something is somebody who like is just not comfortable in the house that they just bought, right? And it doesn't really matter how old the air conditioning unit is. Sometimes they're just like, dude, I don't know why. I just don't like this thing. It doesn't seem to make me, you know what I mean? The bills were really high on it. I know it's not that old, but I've had that happen so many times where they just moved in. They didn't buy the unit and they were like, we like the air conditioner in my old house better.
I ask him, I've heard that a million times, and I ask him one question, Everett. I say, are you talking about like the day-to-day or when you're sleeping? And this is a big one because a lot of customers are, double income. They're like, well, yeah, you're right. We're not home very much during the day, but yeah, it's very uncomfortable when we're sleeping, but it's newer. I'm like, okay, great. So then what do I do in that situation, Everett?
You tell me.
To the master bedroom.
I was going to go mini split on that, but I
sell so many damn mini splits, bro.
That's awesome. This woman the other day, so I was in this house.
Yeah.
Great couple. This is a great story. Technician went in there. There was a 3-ton upstairs and a 5-ton downstairs. The total square footage of the house was like 3,300 square feet. So you have 8 tons of cooling.
That's insanity.
That's a lot of cooling. So again, load calculation. I'm like, okay, this is now high ceilings, whatever. So downstairs actually ended up because the concentration of the square footage was actually downstairs. Upstairs, there's a couple rooms. So I'm like, dude, you have a 3. So long story short, ended up that ended up getting downsized, and it's perfect. But the master bedroom downstairs, the ductwork was concealed in the walls, and unfortunately, like just could not, without busting open walls. I did give an idea of running one through a closet and then cutting the shelf in the closet and then running the duct downstairs into that master suite. And I didn't love the idea, but the problem was that the ductless mini split unit, she was like, I called my realtor, where there's no, like, we're not doing it. We're just not putting a ductless mini split up there. We're not doing it down in the master because it's on the walls. I don't want to see it, like all this stuff. And so just didn't want to see it. And I'm like, it's very much more commonplace these days, but I didn't want to have this argument. She was adamant about it. She did not want to have it. Right.
Why don't you throw a cassette in the ceiling?
Well, and those, most of those have to get framed out, but you still have to run. Yeah. but again, there's no, for those that are listening to audio, Andy just showed me he has a cassette in his office there. But anyway, there was no real room to run it down, like to have, plus you'd have to frame above it. You have to reframe because those things are a little bit wider for the most part. I forget what manufacturer has where they can fit through the bays now, but she wasn't having it. Long story short, they went variable speed on the first floor. I put a room temperature sensor there because the thermostat was in another place. So at least they can get poor man's zoning kind of deal.
Yeah.
So the room temperature, fine.
Sensors all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Downsize that. Well, okay. So long story short, this whole thing happens. The install is like crazy, all this kind of stuff. A lot of things happened during the course of the install, and it was just like, we were tweaking things. The install took a long time. Space became a restrictive thing because both systems were in the attic and they were like on uneven planes. And so anyway, long story short, it did actually ended up going fine, but I guess some of it was they were not ecstatic about the experience. They were like, we understand that the air conditionings are great. You made everything good, but like, man, like it took a long time to kind of try to get there. Right. And dude, so the owner of the company was like, dude, I just now on ours, it depends on what you get, but they don't like include necessarily labor warranties and everything. And the dude told him, I said, I want you to have an amazing experience. I'm going to give you 10 years labor on everything across the board. Like you never have to worry about anything for the next 10 years. I don't want you to have to worry about anything ever again. And because the wife was not happy and everything else. And dude, they were like head over heels. Like, oh my gosh.
Head over heels, literally.
They were literally head over heels, and they were so excited. And it just, I mean, yeah, there's an expense to that. Of course, you have to purchase those aftermarket warranties, etc. But
not if you have a extension labor warranty in house.
No. Yeah, and there's ways to do that. I actually did an episode on that. But dude,
that's what we do. So, yeah.
Oh, you guys do the self warranty. You keep a separate account. That's awesome. What else are you doing? Tell us a story.
What on what? Give me a topic.
I don't know, man. So I was in this house.
And again, I'll go back. I'll give a little shout out to myself. So people on video, I got my one bag at a time shirt on. It's my collared shirt, and I tell people, if you want to sell more, start giving back more. And that's not only with your customers, right? I started a 501c3 QCO 15 years ago, and it's grown over the years. But once a month, we go downtown Phoenix and we feed and help out the homeless. So if you're ever coming to Phoenix for anything, check in with me. We'll plan an event around your stay, especially you, Everett. And basically, in an hour, we'll feed and help out 1,000 homeless people, and they'll leave with a smile on their face. I love doing it. It gets me high as fuck on life. And to be honest, I love it. So I'll tell customers about it. I'll have customers that either buy or don't buy from me, and they come out to an event for me just because I'm a good person. And again, guys, it's going to help. Everyone likes good people. I don't do it for that. I do it because I love giving back. I love helping other people. And it just makes me a better father, a better person, a better husband, better everything.
I love that.
What is onebagatatime.org, one bag at a time on Facebook, one bag at a time AZ on Instagram. And yeah, we do monthly events for 15 years.
I ask this question on every episode. This is no different. I almost forgot to ask it. But having worked in so many houses over the years, we run into experiences, we run into people, we meet people, and we meet people for me that have changed my life forever. What is one experience that you've had in a house that has shaped you, that was so profound in some sort of way that it lives with you?
I like that one. That was actually, I'll give you a story. Maybe 2 years ago, I met this guy, Mike, in a high rise. Again, did not end up using me because, to be honest, he didn't need a new air conditioner. He wanted something quieter. I was able to get him a quieter option without actually having to replace his air conditioner. But he's referred me 30, 40 times over. Like I added it up. It was over $500,000 in business and just referrals in the last 2 years, just from this guy. But we go shooting a couple times a year. We went out for boys night. I invited him over for poker night. He became a friend of mine. But dude, this guy is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And the only reason he gives me his time is because he's like, Andy, you're real as fuck. When I need to get something off my chest, I'll ask you because I know you'll give me a real answer and you're a real person. That guy has introduced books to me, trainings, seminars. Like he literally, he's one of those friends that will just reach out to you so he can improve your life in one way or another, or give you an idea, or call me and be like, Andy, I'm dealing with this. What would you do in this scenario? I'm like, I don't fucking know, dude. I'm not a billionaire like you. Like, I don't know. How about this? And he goes, man, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go try that. And calls back. It fucking worked. I'm like, I was just giving you an idea what I would do if I was in that scenario. So like, I created this friendship with this guy that just like basically changed my whole insight on, you're walking into a relationship, you're going to a quote, you're leaving the grocery store and make eye contact with someone. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you believe in God or not, but the higher power put you in that scenario for a fucking reason. It's your choice to take advantage of it or not. You don't know if you're meeting your next best friend, your next best man, you get married. You don't know if you're meeting your next best boss. You have no idea who's in front of you. So just be genuine and real and just take the most out of that relationship. You don't understand what will make your life, possible.
How about, have you ever experienced something maybe heartwarming or like sad or something that like that's self-improvement, that story? I'd be interested if you ever met anybody that like just moved you.
Yeah, no, I've been moved by a lot of customers. I actually went to a customer's house. Tell me if this makes up your answer. And I had just lost a best friend like 3 days prior. But what gets you off your mind of losing your best friend? Going back to work and getting that
work.
So you have to think about it, right? So I'm in the customer's house, and she's one of these. Actually, haven't seen her in maybe 6 to 8 months. I went to an event with her. But long story short, this customer is a healer, right? So she gives like massages, but she also has people come over and she does like the Reiki and she does like the crystals healing and stuff like that. She has a sense to her where she can sense like a dog knows if you're in a bad mood. Dude, this lady could read it all over me, and I wasn't giving any signals. She told me and said, "Hey, there's something going on in your life." I'm like, "Fuck!" Like it's freaking reading my thoughts, and she's like, "I feel tension right now. I don't know what it is, but like you're in a bad mood, aren't you?" I'm like, "Try not to be." And she's like, "What is it? Just tell me what it is." And I don't know what it is. I didn't want to share with her. I didn't want to talk about it, but something inside of me connected with her, and I just opened up and told her everything that was going on. Dude, this lady freaking counseled me through it for 3 hours, just getting over the trauma. And this is a fucking customer of mine.
Stranger. Yeah, you didn't even met her. You just met her. Yeah.
Now I love this lady like a second mom.
Isn't that incredible? Have you ever fallen through an attic? Have you ever fallen through the ceiling?
I have a great story for you, bro. So I was in this house. I was 11, 12, 13 years old, like young, like before high school, 7th, 8th grade area. And I was helping with a horizontal install. And I know that there's a truss every 24 on center, 24 on center, 24 on center. Well, a lot of the time, if you have an R38, R50 insulation in the attic on top of the trusses, you can't see shit. So I'm just going, so every 24 I'm stepping, I know how to step in an attic. Well, this builder decided to put the fucking fire sprinkler PVC line on the fucking truss, like horizontally. So I stepped on it. I'm like, this feels weird. So as soon as I left my foot, dude, water just started pouring in the attic. I slipped. I fell through the ceiling on top of the kitchen table and then flooded the house.
Oh my God. And you were like, you were 12 years old?
12, 13 years old, hurt my back, had to get some physical therapy. The best part, like not best, worst part, hilarious part, my dad had to write down that it was him because I wasn't insured to work.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Oh my gosh. I wonder, and this was 25 years ago. I wonder what the expense of that was at that time. I mean, now it's like probably five times.
My dad had to change insurance companies.
Oh, wow. Great job, Andy.
Canceled. I know, bro. So he's like, okay. He sat me down. I remember the day. A couple days later, he sat me down. He goes, "All right, Ange." He calls me Ange, A-N-G. He goes, "All right, Ange." He says, "I'm so frustrated right now, but I know it was a mistake. Let's not do that again, please. So can we come up with a situation where we're never going to do that again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to learn my lesson. I'm never going to step anywhere I can't see." And I did from that day on.
What is the hardest thing that you've ever had to deal with internally as a family business, right? What's the hardest thing that you guys have ever had to, the challenge that you faced?
Me or the company?
Let's do the company.
The company was like the hardest challenge, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest challenge, right? So, like you know that we're owned by Champions Group, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Champions Group implemented, and then the word started getting out there, people looking at me and be like, "Andy, what happened? I thought you guys were family owned, family run. What happened?" And having to explain that to where, the main reason why we had to actually sell, the main reason was because my two uncles that were, partners with my father at the time, they both wanted to retire. And my dad didn't have $50 million sitting in the bank to retire them and pay them out so they can enjoy life. And one of them had Parkinson's. It's not doing very well, doing better than he was, but it's bad. He's almost bedridden. He wanted to retire and travel the world. We didn't have $5-10 million waiting in the bank for him. He needed the company revenue. So it was either pull out a massive fucking loan and pay off the brothers so we can keep moving on, or bring a partner in. And obviously the multiplier was insane. So the choice my dad picked at the time.
Mm. And now is dad and grandpa still involved in the business?
No.
No uncles? Are any uncles left in there in the business?
I'm the last Hobaica, brother.
Oh, wow. You're like the last. There can be only one. It's like Highlander. I don't know if you know that reference or not, but
I do know that reference.
That's awesome. Very cool, man. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Let me ask you a question. Listen, this could be one of those where I've had like Tommy Mello. We had it was almost like 2 hours or whatever, but I love talking shop. What's one topic maybe that you're thinking about now, especially as it pertains to what's happening in our industry? A lot of changes, obviously a lot of shiny tools with AI and all this other stuff, which is fine. Like I'm all about progress and moving this industry forward and doing what's best for us. But is there something burning you right now, or something that's on your mind now?
We brought it up before, right? So like, there's so many sales coaches out there, trainers that are training this like the same thing, just in their own words. And you would agree with me because I've seen your stuff. Is people ask me, I currently have 16 clients that I coach, some on Service Nation, some privately, but basically they all want that one trick, that one quick thing, that one line to tell a customer. And I tell them, well, you're gonna have to give me the scenario and role play with me so it can come out genuinely of what you say, because I don't have a script. I don't have lines. I don't have all this bullshit that people advertise like, oh, I can overcome that. I'm like, yeah, I can probably overcome that objection. I'll brag about it. I'm a master at overcoming objections. It's one of my favorite things to do. We role play for 2 hours a week with every team in our company. We'll role play with the install department, the technicians, the salespeople, live and on Zoom. But overcoming objections is great, but you have to give me the objection. It has to be real, and it has to be right then and there so I can overcome it and give you a solution. I don't have a script paragraph of everything that I'm going to say to every answer. People are like, well, what would you say here? I don't know. Depends on the scenario. Give me a background on exactly what's happening and what you're telling me of why you can't buy right now. And I'll tell you what I really would say in that moment.
Okay. This right here is where the rubber meets the road. And this is what's really tough. Most organizations in general, especially even small businesses, want to create some sort of exact repeatable process that they can replicate and produce over and over again, which you can do with a lot of processes. As it pertains to human emotion, as it pertains to sales in general, right? There's like, I talk about this. It's like there's check boxes and sort of an outline, But in order for you to harness the true emotional and logical connection with somebody, your answers are best served unscripted, where they seem natural when they come out. The most successful people I know, including you and some other people, this is how they do it. But it's very difficult to train and teach. You actually have to teach, and I'm sure you do this, more philosophy, right? Like sales and communication philosophy. The philosophy here is, what are they asking? What's the motivations? Not, here's the exact line that you should take. Right?
Correct. And then on that, if any salespeople are listening, like all you do is sales, comfort advisor, comfort consultant, whatever you want to call yourself to hide that you're in sales, right? So at the end of the day, all you do is sell. You don't run service. You don't run, trainings like that. I would highly recommend, if you don't already, go back to the field for 5 or 7 years.
When you say go back to the field for 5 or 7 years, what do you mean?
Being a technician installer and learn how to actually do the work.
Oh, well, you're assuming that I would say most CAs in the industry that work for most scale players, they don't come from the industry. They actually come from outside the industry. And then
I know, but I'm telling you, if you want to get on my level, you have to have field experience.
You can do it both ways. I went backwards into a master license, dude. I went backwards into all that. Now, I had the strongest shot.
If you take a guy that used to sell cars and then you give him a month of training and put him in the field, I'll fucking crush that guy.
Oh yeah, no, dude, I will murder.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I'll murder that guy. I'll give you one. I'll give you one better. And actually, this is actually a testament to my original employer, which was independent, ended up getting bought by ARS, but was independent. Their training, when I went in there and I had no industry experience, okay, and this is a company called AJ Perry over in New Jersey, and they trained the shit out of us. Bro, I was in a classroom and ride-alongs and doing mock load calcs and all this kind of stuff for literally months before they let.
You're talking about training, dude. Most people don't do what you're saying. Most people take a sales guy and be like, "Hey, good luck."
So, dude. So when I train, I ran a branch for a large company. When I train, I have a minimum, and this is with people with experience. People without experience, it's continuous training over the course of months. But with a minimum of 3 full weeks of training, just because I go a third. I go 1/3 is going to be sales, 1/3 is going to be technical, 1/3 is going to be process training, and then I have them work with every other department so that they can understand how the whole wheel works. And you can cram in and do a lot of good classroom training in that period of time. And of course, even when you're doing technical, you're still doing sales. And when you're doing sales, you're still doing technical and process. And so it all intertwines. But anyway, going back like all these years, the only reason why I was able to be successful was because that company had continuous training, and I actually went to go work for another company, and they did the same thing. And I got training multiple times a week, in some cases every single day, and that was the only way I was able to sharpen the saw, man. And for those people out there trying to just wing it, because you can wing it. I mean, there's lots of companies that are winging it out there, but that training, you can't. Dude, that's the biggest criticism I have for this industry right now. You want to throw people to the wolves and assume that you've got all the online and AI tools that you can train yourself to do everything. Like, dude, I totally fucking disagree.
So those people that think they can just shoot from the hip and go for it, they're going to get some sales. Maybe the first 4 or 5, like, hey, the customer already loves your company. They hope that you're telling the truth and you know what you're doing, and hopefully it goes well and they have good luck and they do well, right? But hey, Everett, pray to God that they don't say they want to think about it and I come in after you. You're not getting that sale anymore, bro.
Well, I love these guys. I love these guys that, they're like, we have an exact 10-step process. And if you follow these 10 steps, at the end of the 10 steps, the logical solution is that we will all have, the installation will be in the bank and everybody will agree, and we will, we'll have an install and you'll have a sale and you'll make money and whatever else do. I mean, Those days are so dead. I mean,
Yeah, you sound like Jordan Belfort right now in Wolf of Wall Street.
well, you know what, man? Like, but okay, let me go backwards because there's some old school guys that I have a ton of respect for that train a very less art, more science for them. In other words, like they train on a process that is, this is the exact process. Follow this exactly step by step. Copy my words, copy my scripting, copy exactly what I'm saying. And at the end of the day, and I've seen some good results from that stuff, but I think there's a ceiling to it, if that makes sense, right?
But all those guys worked in the field as well, so they know exactly what to do. Right? You got all the goats, Uncle Joe. You got
he was on the last episode.
You got Weldon Long. You got all these badasses.
Okay, yes, but okay, so let's talk about that. Art versus science. Scripted. If you were to give me completely scripted, right, versus like sort of a symbiotic, malleable process that you kind of you have your checklist, but you don't follow it precisely. Talk about those two as they pertain to each other.
Well, like you said, it worked back in the day really well, right? You know why? Because there was no fucking Google. There was no ChatGPT. Nowadays, people can call you on your bullshit. You did your whole process. I looked up a little thing called static pressure. You didn't give me those ratings. And then the guy that has no field experience is going to be like, let me call a technician.
Yeah, no, it's true. But you're also talking about at least somewhat educated consumers that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but more and more nowadays, they're getting more educated. This is our future, brother. Everybody is Googling and ChatGPT and looking up everything before you get in the door.
Yeah.
Ask me, are you doing your heat load next? Because I heard that's the most important thing. I'm so glad you asked, Everett. Yes, I am, but I'm going to look at the unit first, and then I'm going to do my heat load. And you can either come with me around the house, or I can do it and come and get you, at your computer where you were. And to be honest, dude, if you come around with me and do the heat load with me, I'm not leaving that sale I'm not leaving the job without the sale.
Yeah.
Heat load with the customer, writing down my numbers in the rooms is humongous.
Is there a sentiment though that you will have to condense what you're doing moving forward? Because I've heard this now from some very solid data. There's market research and studies that show that you have to condense in order to sort of, we're always evolving, right? And, we're talking earlier about 2 to 3 hours and all this kind of stuff. I was a part of this study that showed that the biggest sort of data showed that you had to condense down your stuff. You had to condense your sales cycle. You had to condense your I know that
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, again, but you have command and you have command of the situation. See, this is where, again, the malleability is going to win out because you're going in, their expectations are, this guy's going to be in and out in X amount of time. You command the situation. Go, no. I have to do all this. And then much like me. And then at that point in time, it's like, okay, I understand it. Andy knows what he's doing. I'm going to let Andy do what he does because he's earned. Now I've got the trust of Andy. I mean, I trust Andy.
But dude, like you just said it, there's so many people that I coach. They're like, what do you mean? If they say all they're going to accept is the, quote right now in 30 minutes, you're not going to give them a quote? And I'll tell them, no, I'm not. Because the problem is they're not going to pick me, bro. I'm twice as much as anyone's been in there yet.
Yeah. Well, there is a level also to, and this is actually a nice little, I will say this is a tactic.
Yeah.
And so you just say, sure, absolutely. Let me see if I can get my preliminary. I know you don't have much time. Let me see if I can get some of my preliminaries done. I'm gonna, I'll try to, move this along here. Let me get outside. I'm gonna do this, and then you start doing that. And they didn't really have a crunch timeline. They just said they did, right? And so then you start going through it, and then they start asking questions, and then you start answering questions, and then you start asking questions, and the next thing you know, you're there for, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So like there's this level that
Yep.
they will start with a defensive mechanism, which is, you know, they have something called the pact, right? They've made a pact, like, dude, we're gonna get this guy in and out of here and then you through the course of the world turning for a few minutes, of, you know, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, that they've now graced you and allotted you. It's kind of like playing a video game and you're like running out of time, but like you get more time, right? So you get the opportunity. I've had that happen many times. Or somebody says, I have to be out of here in 20 minutes, and the next thing you know, let me cancel my meeting. I got time, because you've offered value and they want to listen to you. So there's kind of this double-edged sword.
I get it. There's a lot of things you can say just to get their interest. Be like, Everett, what if I told you, and I'll look it up on ChatGPT with him right then and there. What if I told you that 75% of homes in Arizona have an oversized air conditioning system? Also, not enough return. We're called the land of no return for a reason, and we don't have enough, right? In the East Coast, they have a return to every fucking room. We have one in the hallway, and it's never good. So I can give you a price, but the problem is I'm not able to size it out right. So if I quote you a 5-ton like what you have now, it's not going to be what I'm going to be installing. So I'm going to actually have to give you a $1,500 to $2,000 discount when I actually sell you the right product as well. I don't know what we're dealing with, if you have the right amount of returns. Maybe a system that fits your attic I have in my shop, and I can give you a stock discount. But there's all these different factors I'm not able to look at in the next 20 minutes. So yeah, I can give you a quote, but I'll tell you right now, you're not going to pick mine. It's going to be more expensive than everybody else's because we do stuff different. But if I'm able to show you that, then there's no value here. So you want me to just shoot you over a quote and we'll probably never talk again? Or is there another time I can come back over here and show some value to protect you and your family's investment?
Yeah. Styles again. And I want to say that I've taught this too. There is a level of some guys that are in the field that have command, and you have command, but there's a lot of guys that don't have command. They don't have the confidence to say those things. Yep. So then what happens is
you gotta read or listen to the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson 10 times, and you'll help you out a lot.
I read that book like last year.
I love that. I love it.
But with a takeaway, actually, it was like, hey, actually, it's about caring a lot. Yeah, it's very interesting. Hey, man, while we wind down here, anything else you'd like to discuss, talk about, something that's burning on your mind?
Not really. I just really appreciate your time, and I tell everyone now, I'll offer this on podcasts, and I get like 3 people message me. It's crazy. Anybody that's listening, add me on Instagram, Andy Hobaica, ANDYHOBAICA, Andy Hobaica, nice and easy. Send me a friend request in a DM, right? I will give that person a free 45-minute coaching Zoom call just to help them out with the industry, overcoming objections, whatever they want to do.
Free. Cool.
Dude, I said this in front of a group of 2,000 people at the Scale conference, and 4 people hit me up. Out of those 4 people, 3 people actually showed up to the Zoom meeting that we set up, and 2 of those 3 people implemented what I did, and they're freaking like mind blown, making money like crazy because they were doing one thing wrong. That was just like, no, stop doing that.
That's awesome. Well,
but
good,
again,
man.
I'm not doing it to sign people up for coaching. They can do it. I'm doing it because I can lead that conversation knowing I helped someone and be a better person, and they'll remember me about the person that helped them to where, I'll say one more thing, brother. I heard it in the gym like a year ago, and I've been saying it nonstop to people. This guy's in the gym, and I look over, and he says, hey, bro, have a great day, and make sure you sell some seats. And I'm like, hey, come back here. What did you just say? He goes, sell some seats today. Make sure you sell some seats. I'm like, sell some seats? You got like an event coming up? He goes, no, man, I wake up every day and I focus I can sell 5 seats that day. That's people. I'm going to sell 5 seats to my funeral. They're going to say good things about me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So how many seats did you sell today? Well, hopefully one. Everett will come to my funeral and say something good about me.
Yeah, I'd say something good about you. Very, very cool, man. I thought about this, and then I'll let you go. I thought about this too. You know how there's tech support helplines? I thought about like an in-home sales support line where like people could call and be like, hey, so I ran into this situation. What would you have done in this situation? Like they get out of a house, they didn't get the sale, or whatever it was.
They have those.
I don't even care. It could be, I mean, HVAC could be great, but I don't care what kind of, it could be plumbers, it could be electricians, it could be roofers. It doesn't matter to me.
So I have to give a shout out to Jeremy Miner. You know Jeremy?
I do know, I don't know him personally, but yeah.
Jeremy Miner has his own AI bot app that in each industry, if you're a sales guy, you're like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom, I gotta go make this call. You go into the bot and you say what the objection is, and he'll tell you exactly what he would say.
Yeah, the NEPQ stuff is really
pretty cool, bro.
It is actually pretty cool. A whole nother discussion. Andy, I would love to have you on again, man. I think you have so much insight. I almost feel like I'd want a panel of like different philosophies in sales and then have them all together, and then we can argue with each other.
Like a blast as well. If you just want to do another hour of the sales process and overcoming objections, it's my favorite thing to do.
That's cool. Awesome, dude. Well, thank you. I appreciate you, dude. And rock and roll, brother.
I appreciate it, brother. Have a great day.
Later, man.